I request Ahmed Sohail Sahib to please come and recite the verses.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأقسموا بالله جهد أيمانهم لئن أمرتهم ليخرجن قل لا تقسموا طاعة معروفة إن الله خبير بما تعملون قل أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول فإن تولوا فإنما عليه ما حمل وعليكم ما حملتم وإن تطيعوه تهتدوا وما على الرسول إلا البلاغ المبين وعد الله الذين آمنوا منكم وعملوا الصالحات ليستخلفنهم في الأرض كما استخلف الذين من قبلهم وليمكنن لهم دينهم الذي ارتضى لهم وليبدلنهم من بعد خوفهم أمنا يعبدونني لا يشركون بشيئا ومن كفر بعد ذلك فأولئك هم الفاسقون وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأطيعوا الرسول لعلكم ترحمون.
Translation is by Haris Kamar Sahib.
In the name of Allah, the Gracious, the Merciful. And they swear by Allah, their strong oaths, that if thou command them, they will surely go forth. Say, swear not. What is required of you is obedience to what is right. Surely Allah is aware of what you do. Say, obey Allah and obey the Messenger. But if you turn away, He is responsible for what He is charged with, and you are responsible for what you are charged with. And if you obey Him, you will be rightly guided. And the Messenger is only responsible for the plain delivery of the message. Allah has promised to those among you who believe and do good works that He will surely make them successors in the earth, as He made successors from among those who were before them, and that He will surely establish for them their religion, which He has chosen for them, and that He will surely give them in exchange security and peace after their fear. They will worship me, and they will not associate anything with me. Then whoso disbelieves, after that, they will be the rebellious. And observe prayer, and give the zakat, and obey the messenger, that you may be shown mercy.
Jazakallah. I request Fazan Pal Sahib to recite the Nazam next.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Hazrat Muslim Hazrat Ta'ala के कलाम में से चंद अशार نگاہوں نے تیری مجھ پر کیا ایسا فسوں ساقی، نگاہوں نے تیری مجھ پر کیا ایسا فسوں ساقی کہ دل میں جوش وحشت ہے تو سر میں ہے جنوں ساقی، کہ دل میں جوش وحشت ہے تو سر میں ہے جنوں ساقی، جیوں تو تیری خوشنودی کی خاطر ہی جیوں ساقی، جیوں تو تیری خوشنودی کی خاطر ہی جیوں ساقی، مروں تو تیرے دروازے کے آگے ہی مروں ساقی، مروں تو تیرے دروازے کے آگے ہی مروں ساقی، پلائے تو اگر مجھ کو تو میں اتنی پیوں ساقی، رہوں تا حشر قدموں پر تیرے میں سر نگوں ساقی، رہوں تا حشر قدموں پر تیرے میں سر نگوں ساقی، تیری دنیا میں فرزانے بہت سے پائے جاتے ہیں، مجھے تو بخش دے اپنی محبت کا جنوں ساقی، مجھے تو بخش دے اپنی محبت کا جنوں ساقی، سوا ایک تیرے میں خانے کے سب میں خانے خالی ہیں، پلائے گر نہ تو مجھ کو تو پھر میں کیا کروں ساقی، پلائے گر نہ تو مجھ کو تو پھر میں کیا کروں ساقی، وہ کیا صورت ہے جس سے میں نگاہ لطف کو پاؤں، چھوں دامن کو تیرے یاد تیرے پاؤں پڑوں ساقی، چھوں دامن کو تیرے یاد تیرے پاؤں پڑوں ساقی، شہیدان محبت سے ہی میں خانے کی رونق ہے، چھلکتا ہے تیرے پیمان میں ان کا ہی خون ساقی، چھلکتا ہے تیرے پیمان میں ان کا ہی خون ساقی، نگاہوں نے تیری مجھ پر کیا ایسا فسوں ساقی کہ دل میں جوش وحشت ہے تو سر میں ہے جنوں ساقی۔
Jazakallah. Next is the translation of this poem by Adnan Khan Sahib.
Your gaze has had such an enchanting effect on me. My heart brims with madness while my conscience is restless. If I live, I live for your sake. If I die, I choose to die on your doorstep. If you offer me a drink, I will drink endlessly. I remain at your feet in prostration till the day of judgment. Your world is populated with man admirers. Grant me the desire of your love also. Except your tavern, all other taverns are empty. Unless you grant me a drink yourself, what am I to do? What image is there from which I can garner an affectionate gaze? Should I place my hand upon your heart, or should I prostrate upon your feet? The status of a tavern is judged by martyrdom of its lovers. Your vessel overflows with the blood of these lovers.
Jazakallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Amma ba'du, fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum. We are all gathered here today to commemorate and to be thankful to Allah of a great blessing bestowed on us, and that is the blessing of Nizam-e Khilafat, the institution of Khilafat. Khilafat is a system of spiritual leadership of Ahmadiyya community, and the Khalifa literally means a successor. In Islamic terminology, a Khalifa means head of the system which provide guidance and manage the affairs of the believers. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih II, Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad Rahimahullah alayhi, addressing Majlis Shura in April of 1924, explained the need and the duties of the Khalifa. Khalifa, which is the spiritual leader of the Jamaat. Huzur says, and I quote, "In short, everything that needs to be done to achieve the total reformation of mankind is included in these 4 tasks." Now these 4 tasks he's referring to is from a verse of Holy Quran, chapter 2, Surah Baqarah, verse 130, in which Allah Ta'ala outlines the 4 tasks given to the prophets. And these 4 tasks are, for the prophet, are to recite them God's signs, that's number 1. Number 2 is to teach them the holy book. Number 3, teach the wisdom. And the number 4 is to purify them. These are the 4 tasks given to a prophet for the mankind. And Huzur is referring to that. He says, and I quote, "To achieve a total reformation of mankind is included in these 4 tasks. Once one has understood the mission and the duties of the prophet, it becomes easy to understand the duties or the work of Khalifa, because the mission is exactly the same. Because the Khalifa who succeeds the prophet, his job becomes the continuation of the work of the one who was before him. So the work of the Khalifa shall be the same as the work of the prophet." I unquote. In this age, the Khulafa of the promised Messiah ﷺ has continued the work and the mission of promised Messiah ﷺ. We, the Ahmadis, are the fortunate beneficiaries of the blessings of Khilafat. The Khalifa and the Imam of the time is guiding us. He has a certain passion and desire in his heart about the betterment of us. He prays for us and guides us to the right path. We have a clip of Khalifatul Masih Rabi, Rahmatullah alayhi, which shows actually the depth of desire and his love, depicting the love of Khalifa for the members of the Jamaat. I request to play that clip.
जहाँ तक मेरा फर्ज है, मैं अदा करने की कोशिश करता हूँ। अगर तुम लोग इस फर्ज को नहीं समझोगे, अदा न करोगे, तो मेरा सख्ती से मना न करना हरगिज इस बात को जाहिर नहीं करता है। ये बात मेरे दिल को पसंद आई है, मुझे जो दुख पहुँचता है, अल्लाह दे सके। बात खुदा की खातिर लोग ये बात तो पूछते हो ना, ऐसे खुदा मैंने हर मुमकिन कोशिश कर ली कि हमारी नई नस्ल नमाज पर कायम हो जाए, मगर शैतान इनको दोबारा बहका देता है कि तू मेरी मदद फरमा और इनकी हिफाजत फरमा, इस दुनिया में भी कामयाब हो और आखिरत में भी कामयाब हो। मेरे ये आंसू जो मजबूरी के आंसू हैं, एक दिल की कमजोरी की वजह से नहीं, बल्कि मजबूर की अहमियत की वजह से। उस बच्ची को भी याद करो जो अपने खावन की नमाज से तवज्जो की वजह से रोई थी, मगर उसका तो एक खावन था, यही तो सारी जमात जो अपने अजीजों बच्चों से ज्यादा प्यारी है, उन सब का काम अगर मैं ना करूं तो उस बच्ची के दिल से भी मेरा दिल कम कर होगा, जो सिर्फ एक अपने खावन के लिए। बस वो सब जिनका जमात से ताल्लुक है, जो मुझे अपना समझते हैं, उन सब से मेरी आजाना इल्तिमास है कि नमाज़ों को कायम करें, अपने घरों में भी, अपने गिरदो पेश, अपने माहौल में भी, और सरात मुस्ता की हिफाजत करें और सुबह की नमाज की तरफ दोबारा वापस लौटें, क्योंकि अगर ये नमाज अदा न की तो इनकी सारी ज़िंदगी जहन्नम कमाने में सर्फ हो रही है। हकीकत में इनको वहम है कि ये नेकियों में मुब्तला है, नेकियों में नहीं बदियों में मुब्तला है, शिर्क करने वाले हैं। रसूल रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की बार बार की नसीहतों को नजरअंदाज करने वाले बनते हैं।
These are the blessings, these are the dua, these are the guidance we get from our Khilafat. May Allah help us and our future generation to get all the blessings of Khilafat by remaining loyal and obedient to the establishment of the Khilafat. Ameen. I will overview the program quickly. We will have our first speech followed by the video presentation, and then we have some personal experiences of the blessings of Khilafat by one of our elders of the Jamaat, followed by Imam Sahib's concluding speech and silent prayers. I request Jalil Akbar Sahib to present his speech next.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. Which then of the favors of your Lord will you twain deny? The verse I recited is from Surah Rahman. Almighty Allah repeats this message repeatedly, many times while speaking of the blessings of this world and the afterlife. So the blessings of Khilafat are like this. And that's because these blessings come from Almighty Allah Himself, who is infinite in His power, in His bounty, and in His blessings. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi subhanallahi lazim. At the same time, Almighty Allah wants us to remember and be grateful for His bounties. So I will be, due to the timing of the program, I can only touch upon a few of these blessings. And of course, this is a vast, indeed infinite subject anyway. But we shall touch upon a few of these. And one of them that I'll speak upon is unity, the unity of the Jamaat. One of the great blessings that we've always seen is the unity of the Jamaat under the leadership of the Khalifa of the time. We all can see only much too clearly the horrifying consequences of the lack of unity among the Muslim Ummah of today. That doesn't need any commentary. But when the Khalifa of the time embarks on a project, divine support starts to manifest itself. The whole Jamaat participates in every scheme up to its completion. Just as the promised Messiah wrote in his book, Al-Wasiyah, members of the community have accepted Khilafat with perfect obedience. A few years ago, Huzur inaugurated a new mosque built through the sacrifices of the Sweden Jamaat in the second largest city in the country, Malmö. Khalifa al-Masih Khamis had been giving detailed guidance on its construction since the site was an empty field. The examples of financial sacrifice from every member is very faith-inspiring. The people, even the people who were not so well off, were making great pledges. For example, even a little girl who sold some of her small possessions or toys or pets, and she gathered a little bit of cash from that. She approached and presented her small sacrifice, but that was all she had in the world, and presented it to Amir Saad himself. And so ultimately, the large project, which was valued at $6 million US, was of course completed, and we were all a witness to it. then also the local Jamaat there performed a great amount of Waqar-e-Amal, including the ladies who set up food stalls to support all the effort of Waqar-e-Amal going on there. So can these examples of the unity of the effort of the Jamaat be seen anywhere else? When the Khalifa moves, the whole Jamaat moves with him. And we can see the grace of Allah in those results. Almighty Allah sees the quality of the sincerity and blesses every project. So from this one blessing of the unity of the Jamaat, there are so many other blessings that proceed from it as well. And you cannot stay on one topic. Love of the Khalifa. Hazrat Khalifa Masih Sani, that is the Muslim out, explained in his book, Khilafat, that there's a big difference between you, meaning he was addressing the Ahmadiyya Jamaat, there's a big difference between you and those who have rejected Khilafat. And that is, you have someone who has true sympathy for you, who truly loves you, who considers your pain and anguish as his own pain and anguish. And he is always praying to Allah for you. There are times when only through the prayers of the Khalifa can one find a resolution to their difficulties. Hazrat Maulana Ghulam Rasul Rajaki writes in his book, Hayat-e-Qudsi, I have borrowed money from some of my friends for having my house built in Qadian. I was worried and wanted to pay off the debt as soon as possible. During the holy month of Ramzan, I started supplicating for it regularly, and it was the 8th day when Allah the Almighty spoke to me in the following words. If you wish to have your debt paid off quickly, you also ask for supplications of Khalifatul Masih. It was soon after that that the debt was paid off miraculously. And then I would like to just briefly touch upon worldwide blessings in this sense, that we know that Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Khamis, how he's been addressing so many of the government parliaments and audiences in their important buildings all over the world. And if they would just be able to follow Huzur's advice, we could ultimately achieve peace on earth. What a great blessing of Khilafat that would be. But now, I want to give you a very strong message. Something that you will remember after the speech and after the program. I may give a speech, good English or bad English, and you may remember a few sentences here and there. But what I want to say to you now is something that you will find changing for your life, and you can take with you forever. You don't have to remember whether the speech was good or bad or anything like that. But the background to this, let me explain it in this way. In 2016, Huzur sent Mohtaram Mujibur Rahman Sahib from Islamabad, Pakistan, to Houston, Texas, to speak on behalf of the Jamaat in a conference about the Quran. So in obedience to the Khalifa, Mujibur Rahman Sahib traveled there and he spoke. The audience there were very learned people, multiple PhDs in Arabic, in Islamic studies, degrees in anthropology, and so on and so forth. Mujibur Rahman Sahib felt he was no match. But when he finished his presentation, the organizer said that his presentation was electrifying. Mohtaram Sahib, your speech was electrifying. Alhamdulillah. He had such a great effect on the university staff there that they offered him a position there at the university. So where did he get his electricity from? Mujibur Rahman Sahib was connected with the Khalifa. First of all, his source of power was the Holy Quran, behind which is Allah the Almighty, who is the source of all power. He explained it in this way. Now he took some examples from real life things that we normally use. And he said, do you know what a clutch plate is? Of course, most of us now don't know what a clutch plate is because that comes from the days of driving a stick shift car. Now we drive all automatic transmission. So in the clutch, there are two plates whose bondage is so strong that when one plate moves, the other plate moves with it. And the energy of the car is transferred through that plate and enables the car to move. Another example, take some iron pegs and put it on the table. And you move a magnet near it, the iron pegs will be attracted up to the magnet. And the iron pegs will move with it. Put a nail in a fan. When the fan moves, the nail moves with it. The fan doesn't move on its own. You put the switch on, you turn the switch on, and the fan moves. Why? Because the fan is connected with the source of power. So, the lesson here is connecting with the source of power is getting the power. So when you connect yourself with the spiritual force, you get the force transferred to you. We derive this lesson from the writings of the promised Messiah when speaking on the subject of Shafat. So Shafat means bonding. Bind yourself, connect yourself with the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in our age, the representative of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the spiritual source of power for us is the Khalifa. So when you write to the Khalifa, you connect. If you write to him frequently, then you become known to him. He gets to know you, and you become connected to him. So connect yourself with God, who is the source of power. After that, connect yourself with the Khalifa. There is a couplet. Mauj hai darya mein, aur bairun darya kuch bhi nahi. A small wave in the ocean is just a wave. If you carry that wave in a bucket, or that water in a bucket, that water is just nothing. Mauj hai darya mein, aur bairun darya kuch bhi nahi. If you're part of the river, then you're a force. If you're out of that river, you're a bucket of water. So connect with the Jamaat. Be a part of the Jamaat. Be a part of the organization. That's how you connect with the Khalifa, who has spiritual guidance from Almighty Allah. Many mystics in the Islamic world, in the history of the Islamic Ummah, have explained this concept in many different ways. Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi explained it in Persian. Darmiyane kale darya takhta bandam kardai baaz mein goi ke daman parma ko hoshyar paas. This is Persian. He says, like a wooden plank, I have been set afloat in the water, and I have been tied to that wooden plank and thrown in the river. Then I was warned, beware, don't get drenched. You have to remain dry. Even in the river, bound to a wooden plank, you have to remain dry. You live in the world, you live in active life. Don't let anything spoil your personality. Be a part of an organization. That's one message. Let me come to the stronger message, the more important one. Coming back to the wooden plank. You're tied to a wooden plank. It will not sink, it will float. If you have an iron peg and throw it into the water, it will sink. But if you drive that iron peg into that wood, that iron peg will also float. So on account of my sins, on account of my weaknesses, I will sink in the water. But if I am tied to a wooden plank, if I'm attached to that wooden plank, which has the power to float, I will float with it. So if I move with the Khalifa, I will float with the Khalifa. I will not sink. I am just an inert, powerless peg or nail. But if I'm, another example, if I'm attached to the fan, I will move with the fan. So the message is, connect yourself with the source of power. Connect yourself with God. Almighty Allah says in the Holy Quran, وَوَاللَّهُ الَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ الْمَلِكُ الْقُدُوسُ السَّلَامُ الْمُؤْمِنُ الْمُهَيْمِنُ الْعَزِيزُ الْجَبَّارُ الْمُتَكَبِّرُ الْمُؤْمِنُ الْمُهَيْمِنُ الْمُؤْمِنُ مُهَيْمِنُ. So Allah says He is Allah, and there's no God beside Him, the Sovereign, the Holy One, the source of peace, the bestower of security, the protector, the mighty, the subduer, the exalted. So Allah Ta'ala is the source of peace among many other important attributes, but this is the one that I am focusing on. So to get the peace, you have to connect with Allah. To connect with Allah, you also connect with the Khalifa. Then you will get the power transferred to yourself. Otherwise, we are nothing in ourselves. May Allah enable us all to connect with the Khalifa, and may Allah bless us all with the blessings of Khilafat. Amen.
Jazakallah. We have the source of blessing, we just need to connect. That's the message. Next is the video presentation. This video was prepared by the Khuddam and Lajna of this Jamaat.
खिलाफत क्या है कि फजले अज़ीम रब रहमान है सरासर नूर और रहमत इल्म और हिकमत का गुलिस्ता है खिलाफत क्या है कि फजले अज़ीम रब रहमान है सरासर नूर और रहमत इल्म और हिकमत का गुलिस्ता है खिलाफत क्या है कि फजले अज़ीम रब रहमान है सरासर नूर और रहमत इल्म और हिकमत का गुलिस्तान है।
We, as Ahmadis, affirm that we shall always be ready to sacrifice our lives, property, time, and children for the cause of the faith and the community. Each of the Khalifas of Ahmadiyya are living examples and bring a tremendous amount of blessing to our Jamaat. Their sacrifices illustrate how they adhere to these statements we repeat in our pledges. Maulana Hafiz Hakim Nuruddin was the first successor to the promised Messiah, peace be upon him. He was appointed as royal physician to the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir for many years. The Maharaja is said to have stated once about Hakim Sahib, "Each one of you is here on some purpose or to seek some favor from me and keep flattering me. But this man is the only person who has no axe to grind, and he is here because he is needed by the state." This is the reason why whatever is stated by Hakim Sahib is listened to carefully, as he has no ulterior motive. Hazrat Nuruddin had a very deep understanding of the Holy Quran. Once he was confronted by an atheist who challenged the concept of God. Whilst looking for answers, he purchased a book written by the promised Messiah and read it with great interest. He was so impressed by the book that he decided to meet the writer. He traveled to Qadian to visit him, leaving his job as the royal physician. When he described his first meeting with the Messiah, he said, "As soon as I saw his face, I was overjoyed, and I felt happy and grateful to have found the perfect man that I was seeking all my life." On seeing Hazrat Ahmad, he immediately offered to enter into covenant with him. Under divine commandment, the promised Messiah initiated the Bai'at on 23rd March 1889, and the very first person who swore the Pledge of Allegiance was Maulana Hakim Nuruddin. His devotion and dedication to the promised Messiah was complete and total. Despite his worldly achievements, he devoted his life in the name of Islam. Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad was the promised son of the promised Messiah alayhi salam. His achievements brought a significant amount of order and promise to Jamaat-e-Ahmadiyya. In 1911, at the age of 22, he founded Anjuman Ansarullah with the permission of the first Khalifa. Before becoming Khalifa, he began the newspaper Al-Fazl in 1913, which is published daily even today. He was elected as the second successor of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad at the age of 25, the day after the passing of the first Khalifa. Later, he also formed Majlis-e-Shura, as well as Khudam al-Ahmadiyya, Atfal al-Ahmadiyya, Lajna al-Mawla, and Nasirat al-Ahmadiyya. He reorganized and consolidated the financial structure of the Jamaat as well, through the schemes of Tariq-e-Jadid and Waqf-e-Jadid. He wrote the 10-volume commentary of the Quran and directed extensive missionary activity outside the subcontinent of India. Being a learned scholar, he could have had an excellent worldly life, but he opted for service to Islam. Khalifatul Masih III, Hafiz Mirza Nasir Ahmad, was the eldest son of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih II and was very highly educated. He had received a Master's of Arts degree in the tripos, political science, philosophy, and economics from the University of Oxford. He impressed his college professors as a very well-behaved and deep-thinking student. He was very well versed in religious knowledge, having memorized the entire Holy Quran by the age of 13.
इस पहलू से भी एक कामिल और मुकम्मल किताब है कि उसने इस तफसील के साथ और जिन रोशन दलाइल के साथ खुदा ताला की ज़ात और सिफात के बारे में इंसान को बताया, वो कहीं और हमें नजर नहीं आता.
He represented the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the National Assembly of Pakistan in 1974, where he was accepted as the most learned man among the audience. Khalifatul Masih III encouraged students to pursue higher education and established numerous educational institutes. Administrative buildings and mosques were built during his Khilafat, including Masjid Aqsa in Rabwa and the Basharat Mosque in Spain. It was at the occasion of laying the foundation stone of Basharat Mosque that he announced the popular Ahmadiyya motto, love for all, hatred for none. With such a strong academic background and being in the UK at such a young age, he could have chosen a leisurely life in the West, but he went back to Qadian to serve the religion.
Nasir Ahmed, you are the supreme head of the Ahmadiyya movement. Which part does the movement play within Islam?
The movement plays this part. We believe that the Mahdi has come to create the conditions of peace in this world.
Hazrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad, Khalifatul Masih IV, led the Jamaat to new levels of unity, zeal, and progress.
अल्लाह ताला को हाजिर जानकर कहता हूँ कि मैं खिलाफत अहमदिया पर ईमान रखता हूँ और मैं खिलाफत अहमदिया को क़यामत तक जारी रखने के लिए पूरी कोशिश करूंगा और इस्लाम की तबलीग को दुनिया के किनारों तक पहुंचाने के लिए इंतहाई कोशिश करता रहूंगा.
One of the greatest achievements of his Khilafat was the development of Muslim Television Ahmadiyya, MTA. In 1992, on the occasion of the inauguration of Baitul Islam Mosque in Canada, the Khalifa's Friday sermon was broadcast to every continent of the world. Ordinance XX, the anti-Ahmadiyya legislation passed by General Zia al-Haq's government in 1984, compelled Hazrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad to leave Pakistan immediately. He left on April 28, 1984, with 17 others, and eventually reached London on April 30th. He established his base in England during his years of exile. His exile could not stop him from being more near to Allah, be more productive, and take Jamaat-e-Ahmadiyya to a new level of recognition in the world. Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, Khalifatul Masih V, earned his Master of Science degree in Economics of Agriculture. He has traveled globally to promote and facilitate service to humanity and takes a particular interest in alleviating the suffering of developing nations by helping to improve their agriculture and facilitating access to food, clean water, and electricity. He has led a worldwide campaign to convey the peaceful meaning of Islam through all forms of print and digital media. In 2004, His Holiness launched the annual National Peace Symposium, in which guests from all walks of life came together to exchange ideas on the promotion of peace and harmony.
Another key principle Islam teaches is that in an effort to develop peace, it is necessary for all parties to never display any form of pride or arrogance. This was perfectly illustrated by the Holy Prophet, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, when he famously said, a black person is not superior to a white person, and nor is a white person superior to a black person.
He also built the Tahir Heart Institute in Rabwa, which serves the local community entirely through volunteers. Each of the Khulafai Ahmadiyya have served their faith with full devotion, giving everything they have to the cause of Ahmadiyya and leaving worldly assets behind.
Jazakallah. I request next Sher Ali Bisharat Khan Sahib to come up here and tell us about his personal experience of the blessings of Khilafat.
We are about to enter upon the final 10. And these final
बेनेमत रब्बे का फातिस दुआ आयत 12 अल्लाह ताला से और जहाँ तक तेरे रब की नेमत का ताल्लुक है तो उसे बस बयान कर. That is why I am here to go through the blessings and bounties that we received through Khilafat from Allah. I was born in an Ahmadi family in Topi, Frontier Province, now known as Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. My grandfather, Sardar Shah Khan Sahib, accepted Ahmadiyyat, and the blessing of Ahmadiyyat started right then at that time. Before he accepted Ahmadiyyat, for generations in our family, a man will have two sons. One will die in the teenage period, and the next son will have another two children, and these children will survive with only one. So it was coming from generation to generation in a single person family. But when he accepted Ahmadiyyat, the Prophet Khilafat prayed for him, and he had 9 sons, 4 daughters. With a lot of progeny since then. So that was the start of the blessing that he received from the acceptance of Khilafat. Then my father, next thing. He was my father was born in many Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and his father sent him to Qadian to study. My dear respected father, Mahbub Khan Sahib, was born in Ahmadi family village of Mani district, Sawawi Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. This village was part of Jamaat Ahmadiyya Topi. In 1942, his father, Sardar Khan Sahib, was shaheed on martyr as he was going from Jummah prayer back to his home. My father, who we called Bawa, attended primary school in Mani. In 1925, his father admitted him in Talimul Islam High School, Qadian, where he stayed in boarding Tariq-e-Jadid. In the student life, he was loved and famous for his excellence in sports. He was a soccer player and hockey player, very well known. In 1947, he devoted his life. He went to Qadian, volunteered for Hifazat purpose, and stayed there till 1948. And he was among the Darwishan, the first 313 Darwishan in Qadian. In Qadian, he worked very closely with Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, Nasr Ahmad Shah, Khalifatul Masih III, and Baba Sheroli Sahib. Under their direction, my father was able to save lives of Muslims surrounded areas. In his lifetime, he has received a lot of lessons from Khilafat of Jamaat. There are a lot of stories that I was gathering this information. I have a lot of information here, but I don't know how to spend a lot of time on these volumes. Yeah. I had the opportunity to see, to meet four Khilafat of the Jamaat, Khilafat al-Masih Sani Rizatana, Khilafat al-Masih Third Muhammad Matala, Khilafat al-Masih Rabi Rahmatullah, and during the blessed Khilafat of Khilafat al-Masih II, I attended Jalsa Salana in 1955 and 56, 2 years. Rabba Pakistan. Both those years I had mulaqat with Hazur and handshake. In Jalsa, I, along with other members of the family, would sit on the ground right in front of the stage. At that time, we did not have the fortune of NTA. So to fully imprint Hazur picture on my mind, I would stare at Hazur and not blink for a long time while Hazur was speaking. Later I learned from Hazrat Khalifa al-Masih before that it was not a good practice, so I repented. Hazrat Khalifa al-Masih speeches started right after Zohar and Zohar and Asr combined prayer and lasted until right before Maghrib. During that time, I had an incident meeting during Jalsa Salana. We would also meet the companion of Promised Messiah, members of Promised Messiah's family, missionaries, and various scholars of the Jamaat. One day, after Asr prayer, there was a big crowd gathered to meet I also stood in line to get the blessings of mulaqat. When my turn came, Hazrat Mirza Bashir Ahmad asked my name and my father's name, and I introduced myself. Hazrat Mia Sahib put his arm over my shoulder and started walking. He would respond to people's greeting, but continued to have his arm around my neck until we reached the residence Al-Bushra. Over there, Hazrat Mia Sahib said, "Acha beta, Assalamu alaikum," and I left. When I recollect this memory, I get overwhelmed with joy. At another Jalsa Salana, I along with my maternal uncles visited Hazrat Sahibzada Mirza Bashir Ahmad at his residence. Hazrat Mia Sahib was not feeling well and was laying on the bed. The rest of the elders were offered seats, and I had the honor to sit on the same bed where Hazrat Mia Sahib was resting during the visit. So that was a great honor. Hazrat Khalifa al-Masih, I believe it was summer of 1960 when my father, who was then Chief Security Officer of the Targana project, asked me to accompany him to visit Hazrat Khalifa al-Masih II in Ahmedabad. Hudur was at that time living in Ahmedabad temporarily during the summer time. Hudur was staying in Ahmedabad for the summer due to his health condition. We were accompanied by a non-Ahmadi driver and two other members of my father's staff. We were offered tea and refreshment under a tent. My father approached to the private secretary office to try to arrange mulaqat with Hazur, but it was not possible due to doctor's restriction. While we were enjoying tea, Nasir Ahmad Sahib, then later on became Khalifa to Masjid Mubarak, came out of the house, main building, and noticed my father. The other Jalsa greeted and all of us and asked my father if he had the mulaqat. My father replied, he tried, but it was not possible. Other Jalsa said, wait and let me see. After a short while, he returned and I took my father inside. At lunchtime, Hazrat Sahib came again out and made sure that the non-Ahmadi guests accompany us for where we would probably serve lunch and instructed me to accompany him inside, which I did. I found myself in a big dining room with an unusual large dining table. Probably 2 large dining tables were set side by side. Hazrat Nasir Ahmad Sahib took a head table seat. To his right was Mubarak Ahmad Sahib, and to his right was Dr. Munawar Ahmad Sahib, and so on, all male members of the family. The last person on the right was Hazrat Tahir Ahmad Sahib, Khilafat al-Masjid IV. Hazrat Nasir Ahmad Sahib offered me a seat next to him, to his left. I was very nervous. Hazrat Sahib himself poured food on my plate a couple of times. After the lunch, he cut mangoes and put it on my table on my plate. I am humbled and honored to say that I had lunch at Hazrat Khilafat al-Masih II, the resident, in the company of 2 noble future Khilafas. Okay. So I have to read one thing which is so I'll read it for that. I'm sorry, my hand is shaking and I'm not able to answer that because of that, but I apologize for. But this is one thing which I prepared for my retirement party at office, which says my tale of diamond ring. This is a story that when my father was serving Hazur Khilafat al-Masih Rabba, my mother one day came to I was lying down in bed, and she came to my bed and sat down on the end of the table on the bed, and she has tears in her eyes. So I thought I was not too young at that time, but I realized that it was because of some financial stress, because my father was not getting too much money from his mom. So I told her, don't worry, one day I will go to America and get my education. I will get a job. I will buy you a diamond ring. So I did that when I graduated. So that is also a blessing of Allah, that because of that, for a person of that age to say that I would go to America, who is studying in 4th grade and not able to get ABCs of English.
Then in that I will go to higher kind of education, get a job, and buy a diamond ring. That was amazing. And I believe that was the word of Allah for my mother. That don't worry, I will take care of it. Sorry that I don't just one more second. I just show you a letter. On my graduation, I received a letter from Hazrat Khalifa Masjid Mubarak before he became Khalifa, and this was written from Karachi by hand, and the date is in history, so I could not read what was the actual date of this, but I will read one sentence from this. The last sentence says, प्यारे अजीज़म शेर अली खान बशारत, आपके खत ने मुझे बड़ी रूहानी इज़्ज़त पहुँचाई, जज़ाकुमुल्लाह खैरन जज़ा फ़ी दुनिया वल आखिरह। तो ये उनके बारे खलीफा जो हमारे खलीफा मसीह राबिगा उनसे 4 दफ़ा उन्होंने मुझे ज़ाती तौर पर अपने घर में दावत में मजबूर किया और हमने बहुत इंजॉय किया उनकी कमी को।
Jazakallah Khan Sahib. Inspiring, and we can see how the blessings are felt, and these are lifetime memories for Sher Ali Khan Sahib. We are getting close to the iftar time, so I request Imam Sahib to give us his concluding remarks and then lead us to the silent prayers.